Don't know how to make a setup, but you still want to be competitive? Are you sick of paying for setups that don't really fit your driving style? Well, then you came to the right place. Hi, my name is Dorian and welcome to another video. This one is all about how I make the setups that I share freely on my Discord channel. Hopefully to teach you guys something and kind of show you the process that I go through every time. I'm gonna snip the process down. I'm not gonna go through the entirety of it. I'm gonna give you the gist of everything that I do in 5 easy steps, and that's it. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you think, and hop over to my Discord as well. We have Get Good Sundays now, where every Sunday 9 p.m. we practice together for the upcoming week. More details in my Discord. Let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is make sure we're testing under the correct conditions. Basically the same conditions we're gonna have in the race. Very easy to do with the new UI. All you have to do is click on the series that you want, go to schedule, and choose the track that you want here. So we're gonna go for Road America, drive now, test drive, and that's it. That's just gonna give us the same conditions we're gonna have in the official race, so we can set up the car perfectly for those conditions. Step number 2 would be to take the iRacing's baseline setup and tweak it to our needs. Dorian, don't you make your own setups? Nope. I don't know how to make a setup to save my life. I can tweak them though, and I figured out what are the key features that I need to change to kind of adapt it to my driving style without making huge changes and having to go through suspension geometry and a lot of telemetry readings to make sure that everything works. I make very subtle tweaks to make it work. Now there's a guy called Tanner. He's the guy who started setups for iRacing. If you guys remember that service, used to share setups for free. iRacing hired him. He's making fantastic F3 setups. We're starting with that, and we're making small tweaks. To do that, we're going to the garage, iRacing setups, and you have setups for every track of the season. Gonna choose Road America, and this will be our starting point. Step number 3 would be to do absolutely nothing but drive the car. Don't change anything, not even the brake bias. Go for a drive. Now, if you know the track well, I know Road America quite well, so it should only take me about 10 to 15 laps to really figure out what the car needs. As I already have a certain amount of experience here, I can get up to pace pretty quickly. If it's a track I don't know, it might take 40, 50, 60 laps for me to try to really figure out what's wrong with the car. The worst thing you can do is make changes after 2 laps or so. You gotta get used to the track conditions, you gotta get used to the track itself and the tire evolution. So the car is gonna be very different on the first 2 or 3 laps. It's gonna be different on the first 5 or 6 or 7 laps. It's gonna be different after that as well, and it's gonna be different towards the end. You need to figure out how the car handles at any stage to make a decision on what needs to be changed. The idea will be to create a base time that we can have as a benchmark. So the sort of time that I can do over and over and over again. It doesn't have to be my fastest time, but it should be right around there and to be consistent there. Let's say I do a I'm just guessing here, a 122.3. I want to be able to do a 122.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.1 for consecutive laps. That's when I know I have a good benchmark to try to test against. So when I make changes, I know if I made it for the better or for the worst. There's another value you want to keep in mind when you're testing, and that's the track conditions. So we got 29C on the track, 28 ambient, and we have 7% track usage. Those are the type of conditions that I'm going to test on, and as I progress, it might take me 2 or 3 hours to really dial in a setup here and get a great lap going. And if those conditions change dramatically, I won't know if it's me that's going faster or just the track evolution. So you really have to keep that in check, and sometimes after about 30 minutes or so, just reset the server altogether, start fresh, and try to replicate these track conditions again so you can keep testing on those conditions where you'll have the race on the official series. Okay, so I'm just gonna do some testing now. I'm gonna take it easy for the first couple laps, see how the car handles, and then I'm gonna proceed to really try to kind of finish the fuel on the tank, get used to how the tire wear is, how the car heats up, and try to get a base and a benchmark so I can test against. Already I can see that with cold tires, the car has a tendency to lock up under braking. Now that could be just a cold tire thing. That could be a feature that returns throughout the race. So I'm gonna have to keep that in mind when I adjust the brake bias. Now the car already comes with a pretty low downforce setup, which is what you want for Road America. You're just gonna have to make sure that you have plenty of turn in on the high speed corners. So I'm gonna test that as the tires warm up. Right now with cold tires, it's gonna be hard for me to say, okay, I got plenty of turn in here, because the fronts could be hotter than the rears or vice versa, and that can make the car change its behavior dramatically. So I'm just gonna go for 3 or 4 more laps, get used to everything, and try to push the car from that point on. Okay, so we're a few laps in, and the one thing that I can feel the car really needs is the brake bias. That's the one thing that I feel like is preventing me from gaining a little more pace out of it, because I can't brake hard because the car just locks up and goes straight. Now, the brake bias is the one thing I can change on the fly, and I'm gonna keep flexible throughout this process. That means I'm not gonna commit to it. I'm just gonna change it right now to suit however the car is right now. So I'm gonna tweak it and take it to around 56.5. Usually a sweet spot is anywhere between 55.5 and 56.5 with Tanner setups. And 56.5 is a little more rewards. You can potentially brake a little later and a little harder, which is very appropriate, let's say, for my driving style. I like to brake late. I like to turn in hard. And it feels better, a little bit less locking. I braked way later here now, and the car handled it just fine. I'm thinking about taking it a little more to the back. And for now, we're gonna stick to 55.8, see how that reacts. That's the only change we're gonna do throughout this stint. Yeah, no locking up, unlike most of the time when I go through this corner. I'm gonna try to brake a little bit later into each corner and see how the car reacts. This is much better. I can brake late and I have plenty of turn in. In fact, this setup is pretty bang on. It's amazing how little one needs to change to be competitive. This is a problem. What just happened here, as we completely crashed and ruined the stint, is the car had the grip that I needed it to have, and I need to go back on the throttle at that point. I need to be able to slam it, have the car rotate nicely through the corner. Now the setup right now is very safe, so that's not gonna give me that opportunity. Again, I know this track quite well. I've tried it with different setups, so I'm gonna be a little bit shorter with this process. I'm not gonna do 25 laps before I make a decision. I sort of already know what I need to change. I kind of fixed the turn in. It feels a lot better now. Now we need a little bit more rotation under power, so we can get good exits to the main straights or the back straights. There's so many straights here, so it's very crucial for us to try to get as much speed as we can on the exit, return to the throttle very aggressively. That's going to give us a lot of speed. So I'm going to go do that right now, and let's see how it looks like. Okay, step 4, making the first real changes to the car beyond brake bias and stuff like that. So we're going to go to the garage, and there's a billion settings here. It can be very overwhelming. In fact, I'm going to skip this entire chassis section. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna go near it, because obviously I can fix it here as well, but any change I make here is gonna change the entire geometry of the car. That means that if I change something, let's say in the, I don't know, anti-roll bar in the rear, make it even softer or disconnect it, it might affect something in the suspension that I won't know how to fix. I just don't have that expertise, I don't have the data, and I don't have the time, frankly. I want to set it up quickly every week for you guys and for myself as well. And if you guys want to do the same and you want to get it done quickly, this is probably not the way to go unless you already know exactly what you're talking about. Because I don't, I'm skipping that and going to drivetrain immediately. And these 3 guys are my secret, so to speak. This is what I changed the most to get rotation done or to prevent rotation being done, prevent over rotation from the car. This changes how it reacts to power, so it's very easy to understand what it does. The moment you set your mouse on it, it says what it does in the description, so you can understand what it does. The friction plates, in my experience, under power are what kind of helps me balance that out. So the more friction plates, the more understeer on the power. The less friction plates, the less understeer on the power. That really helps me kind of make that decision. It also changes the way the car reacts when you're off throttle or when you're turning in the mid corner. It can give you more rotation there, so you don't want to be drastic. You want to be very subtle. So what we're going to do, we're going to make one change at a time. I'm just going to set the friction plates to 4 and see if that gives me a little bit more rotation under power. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pay real good attention how the car reacts when it's cold, because you still want a competitive car on the first and second lap. If the car is unmanageable on the first and second lap, then you're gonna have a bad time. You're not gonna finish races. So any change you make, you gotta realize how it affects the cold tires as well as the warm tires. Right now we got good turn in, no locks, really no locking up because of the brake bias. The car is a little more twitchy, a little bit, but it's not dramatic. I can handle it. I know I got cold tires on. Still got a little bit of locking up, but that's just cold tires being cold. And as far as rotation on the power, I can't tell a huge difference. I'm gonna have to wait for the car to warm up. Let's just do that. Okay, so I feel like the car did get a bit faster now. I'm not sure how much is it to do with the fact that the track is a tiny bit colder. 1 Celsius colder, but it does feel better on the power. I would like some more rotation out of it though. I feel like if I was drafting right now, I would have struggled to rotate the car. You can see just now I had a little bit of understeer and had to keep rotating the wheel. Didn't have that snappiness in the rear end that I like, that will allow me to kind of be very aggressive on turn entry and carry a lot of speed. Car's a little bit faster. I'm gonna keep making changes to the diff to make it a little more lively. That's how I like the car. I want it to slide around on corner entry and exit. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go to the drivetrain and change the diff preload. I don't want to keep reducing the friction plates because I will need some locking. Diff preload. Preload sets an offset amount, let's see what it says, of static differential locking force that will always be present during both acceleration and deceleration. More preload, more locking, which adds understeer off throttle under deceleration and adds understeer, snap oversteer under acceleration. So the less of that, the more rotation I'll get, both on entry and on exit. This could change the car dramatically. This is a huge change. Bigger than the change I made to the friction plates. I'm gonna click it down by 2 clicks, take to 50 Newton meters, and that's gonna make the car a lot livelier. I'm gonna have to pay attention to how it reacts, especially on cold tires, and see if that's something I can work around with on the first couple of laps. And if it's safe there, see how it reacts when the tires get warmer. Alright, let's see how the car reacts on the out lap. I'm gonna try to push it a little bit, pretend I'm in a race. Try to take the car to the limit. Already I'm getting less understeer, which is nice on the high speed corners, but on the low speed corners it may cause a little bit of instability. This is way better on the out lap on these couple corners. Turn 1 and turn 2, way better. Better turn in, better rotation and power. But the next sector will tell me exactly how extreme this change is. The car is very stable in its nature, so I'm using that to slightly reduce stability for the potential of extra speed. Let's see here, this is a vile corner. Third gear, yeah, it wants to over-rotate. I had to stop turning the wheel or it will just go around me. So I'm gonna have to be careful there, but as you saw, it was pretty manageable. Yeah, that rotated nicely. Yeah. I love it. This is how I like a car to react. If you ever driven my setups and felt like it was a little oversteer in its nature, that suits my driving style. A lot of times people like to lean on the understeer because that makes it feel safer, and that could be fast as well. There are setups that are understeery and very quick. I like to find the speed when I'm sliding the car a little bit. So this really suits my driving style. If you want the other way, just take the changes I've made and go the opposite direction. Or keep it as it was, because for this track, the setup is extremely stable right off the bat. Yeah, cold tires, and I'm only 7/10 off my fastest lap so far. So let's give it a couple of laps and see what sort of lap time I can do and how the car reacts on warm tires. I can take this corner in third now. I couldn't do it before. I had to take it down to second. That's amazing. That's a huge difference. That gave me a 10th, and I can probably squeeze more out of it as well. Yeah, it can be way early on throttle here. The stars are still cold. I'm only on my second lap out of the pits, and I'm already 3/10 over. So I have a good feeling this is a good half second, even 6-7 tenths a lap faster for me, for my driving style, than how it was before. Yep, another half second out of it. So all in all, about 8/10 faster. It's not that potentially the car is faster or much faster. It's that it fits my driving style more now, so I can squeeze more out of it. Easily in the 59s on the fourth lap, I think. Third or fourth lap. So the car will get faster. I can break the 59s potentially with this. I don't feel like I need to change much from this point on. I'm still getting a little bit of understeer on the high-speed corners, and that could be a good thing. But under chasing, when I'm chasing people, and I will be chasing people here, I want to try to mitigate that as much as I can. So I might make further changes to the aero once I start chasing people here, because right now I have no one to chase. So when the official practice session opens and I can join with my friends or just random people online and start chasing them, I might click up or down some of the settings from the aero, and I'll show you in a second what I will change in case I'm having trouble chasing people. Step 5, chasing. We're gonna go to the aero and look at the balance. The first thing we want to see is the balance. 43.7, that is the current balance to the front. So 43% of the aero is in the front. Now, to change that, I need to figure out exactly what I want the car to do. If I'm chasing someone and I'm getting a lot of understeer, the first thing I want to do is reduce downforce in the rear, not increase downforce in the front, because the more downforce you carry, the less straight line speed. You want to be able to chase people, and you want to have the fastest car possible. So as a reactionary step, I would just reduce the rear downforce, let's say by 1 or even 2 clicks from the rear upper flap angle. The rear beam wing angle doesn't really change a lot. As you can see, if I get it back to 43.7, 1 click will put me at 44.3. That's a big difference. But if I change the beam angle, that's a small change. So I can make subtle changes here. If I made a tweak and let's say I put it down from 9 to 8 and I'm chasing someone and it feels a little bit better, but I still need a little bit more, I might just click down the beam angle just a tad to give myself that extra rotation. Now that might not work, that might make the car unstable. So you want to test that thoroughly before you go into a race. If it does make the car unstable, consider increasing the front downforce, but note that it will take something out of your straight line speed. 1 click shouldn't be a huge difference, but that little bit of extra straight line speed, especially on a track like this, might really help you. Another thing that is vital for chasing is your gearbox. So 6th gear here is actually really good. It's absolutely perfect for hot lapping, but for a race I would definitely consider extending 6th gear just a little bit by 1 click to make sure I get enough overspeed to be able to overtake on the straights. If you combine that with the fact that we've just reduced some downforce potentially, we can have way greater straight line speeds and be able to chase people much easier and make moves where it's safe on the straights. And for those reasons, we have Get Good Sundays. Every Sunday, 9 p.m. GMT, I host a 2-hour session so we can all just practice the conditions and, you know, fine-tune our setups. 3 heat races so we can prepare ourselves for, you know, duking it out on the first couple of laps with other people. And yeah, it's a lot of fun actually. I'll be in chat if you have any questions. So join my Discord, link in the description below. You can jump in anytime, say hello, and join the practice sessions. That'll be the end of the video. I appreciate you guys watching this far. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you. I hope it was informative. And, you know, leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what you think. Hop over to my Discord, all those good things. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.